In this video, I will explain how the class clock type is working. I have created a project to understand these classes and source files, just like I created project in the previous videos to run the existing files. So we can see that there are three files. First one is header file clock type.h. It defines the class named as clock type. Then it defines some public functions. These comments explain the functions, and this header file only defines the only tells the declarations of the functions, not the definitions. And second file is its implementation file, in which every function of that class has been defined in detail. For example, this function set time it will take three parameters, hours, minutes and seconds, and by checking the values of the parameters, it assigns the parameter values to the class members. Similarly, the get time function returns the values, and then increment r is a function. It simply increases the value of a variable by 1. Similarly, increase minutes, it simply increases the value of minutes member by 1. And if the values of the hours and minutes goes beyond the range after increment, then it simply assigns a 0. You can see here, if minutes becomes above 59, then what it does, it assigns 0 to minimum and call the increment hours function. And similarly, other function, this is print time function, and this is equal time function. This function is interesting because it compares two clock type objects. The first object is that who call this function, and second object is that which have been passed as a parameter to this function. So it simply compares the two objects members and returns true or false. If all the values are equal of both objects, then it returns true, otherwise it returns false. This is constructor, and in this constructor we have simply assigned the values to the members. So this is default constructor. By default it assigns 0 to every member. Then comes the main function file. In main function file, we simply created two objects of this class, my clock and your clock. Then we have created some variables, and then we have called the set time function to pass the parameters. Then we call the print time function again on both objects, and then we again call the set time function, then again call print time function. Then we have used equal time function. Look here, my clock object is calling this function by passing this clock your clock variable as a parameter. So what will the class function do? Class function will compare this object to this object, and if all the members of these two objects are equal, then it returns true, otherwise it returns false. And at the end the main function takes input from the user and assigns these inputs to the my clock object members. Then it prints the time again, then it increments the seconds, call the function to increment the second, and then the print time function is again called. Then get time function is called. It gets the values in these variables and then returns the values and prints the values again.